Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Hour. Today we have some news. All right, it's going to be a little light in the tooth because really not a whole lot of stuff was coming out today, but expect some volatility ahead. All right, we do have an update, a huge update actually, about the Iran-U.S. Negotiations, but not just that, potential strikes. All right, so let's remember to be a little grateful. This weekend is also Memorial Day, so you're not, or Memorial Weekend, so you're also not going to have the stock market open on Monday. All right, Monday the 25th of May. So the stock market will be closed. So we will probably do a stream on Monday. I think we might do a stream on Monday. I'm not 100% sure. Definitely not going to do the invest and chill session on a Sunday. All right, so we got some other things lined up. All right, Kevin Warsh finally sworn in, so we'll go over that. We'll talk about the SEC. The Securities Exchange Commission came out with a temporary halt on the innovation exemption, which sent all cryptos tumbling, just diving down into the rocks. So we'll be covering all of that, all right, in today's live stream. So appreciate everybody joining me for this stream. As always, I do appreciate you guys, and thank you. And again, happy Friday. Hope you guys are, doing, doing well, and you're going to have some plans for this weekend. All right, let me know in the chat if you are here while I get this X thing all squared away, because as you guys know, sometimes X does not like to play nice with StreamYard. All right, let me get this. Boom, get that. Let me pause this video. Right away. Boom. It's always weird to hear yourself talk. Okay, post this. All right, so getting that out of the way. Bingo, bango, bongo. All right, so let's see who we got in the chat so far. We have Sergio saying, I am here, alive and breathing. That is excellent to hear. I am grateful to know that you are alive and breathing. All right, let's see. Waiting for the coffee in hand. Awesome. Yeah, I know. I'm still working on an intro song or something. I need some type of music instead of just a countdown timer. That would be nice. We got Vlad up in the mix. Vladdy, hey, welcome. All right, let's see what we have here. We have going to listen to this and keep an eye on the OKC versus SAS. I think that's a basketball game you're referencing. I'm not sure. I don't really watch games, to be honest. Skeptic says play Rollin' by Limp Bizkit. No, I think the YouTube Agent Smiths will come after me and destroy my channel if I do that. Let's see what we have. We have Dividend Degenerates up in the chat. Good evening, good morning. And we have Skeptic saying Red Tuesday, I've foreseen it. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to share some of just what I'm thinking, from all this volatility that we could experience over the weekend. I think we're going to have a good Monday. Or a good Tuesday opening. I don't know why I think that. Well, I'll share why. But I am leaning towards that more so than anything. But we will see. We will see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the new channel that I am streaming on. All right, guys, this is the old channel. I will be moving the live streams off this channel and onto this channel. As a matter of fact, I will be publishing a video here in the very near future going over broad market stuff. All right, it will be me and Victor talking. So hope you guys will enjoy that. That video should drop sometime over the weekend. If not, it will drop on Monday. All right. And if you can't find it, you guys can go to my posts and you guys can check here and just click that read more, and it'll say right there, Eugen Invest. That is the link in case you guys can't find me in the search bar, because I know YouTube is kind of wonky that way. All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. All right, first up, we're going to look at the heat map here. All right, the S&P 500. We only have a couple of things down today. Google down 1.21%. We have NVIDIA down 1.9%. Amazon down 0.80 basis points. Not a bad day. I mean, honestly, not a bad day, right? But for some single stocks, it was a horrible day. Going into futures, because we need to see what our boys over in energy are doing, and we see oil still, at least for Brent, still above $100. Looks like crude oil is under $100. I think that's the market pricing in on hopes of a peace deal, on a final peace deal. All right, coffee down. Excellent. As you guys can see here, crypto just absolutely got slaughtered today. Again, we're going to go over why. And it's crazy. Like I was going through the news I found the article and kind of what led to the sell-off, and then I found another piece of news as soon as I started the stream, like about a minute or two before I started the stream. It's again, everything is so fluid in this environment. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, let's check the S&P 500 for the last 5 days, up almost a full percentage point. All right, up 79 basis points. Today gained about 37 basis points. Not too bad there. Gold again, just not doing anything, down 1.36 over the last 5 days. Bitcoin, as we all know, took a massive nosedive today. You guys can see it. It was hovering at 77, almost 78K, down 3.3%. So my portfolio absolutely got cooked today, but that is not a big deal. All right. Let's get into some wins. All right. Some wins for everybody, because I like to share the wins from the community and from just everybody in general. Right. That's we should celebrate at least the little wins, especially now. Okay. So Victor was nice enough to put this out just a few days ago. All right. Not even a few days ago. Just basically a day and a half ago, 2 days ago. He said, I said it before, but few are paying attention to communication electronics. Eric, BB, which is BlackBerry, and Knock, which is Nokia. Okay, so when he dropped that, and looking at it today, we see that the stock is actually up quite a bit. Okay, so Thursday is when he posted it on the 21st, and we see we're already up 29% on Nokia, or excuse me, on BlackBerry. What the heck is so important about BlackBerry all of a sudden, right? It's a software. They pivoted away from phones. They're not doing cell phones anymore. That's really not their focus. They're pivoting to software, edge, and AI infrastructure. Same thing with Nokia. Nokia is honestly going to be a big player in the space too, in the AI space. And you guys can see here, had a pretty nice jump, at least almost close to 10%. Not bad there. If you guys look at least a year to date, I mean, that paints a pretty nice picture, all things considered. I mean, look, 108% up. Nokia up 137%. So, I mean, could these be the names, the undiscoverable people left these for dead, just like Intel? Could these be the new names, right, to start looking into? I have not done enough due diligence or deep due diligence or even surface level due diligence on these names yet. We're all familiar with BlackBerry and Nokia, right? We're all familiar with them. I mean, you've probably had a Nokia phone when you were younger. You probably threw it at a wall and it broke the wall. Or maybe threw it at a car and then the car blew up, right? I mean, Nokias just are indestructible. BlackBerries, I mean, you guys know what the BlackBerries are. I used to actually own one when I was, younger. And I mean, it had the full keyboard and everything and the little ball to move the mouse around or whatever. But anyways, they got taken out by Android phones and Apple phones. And people thought these were dead names, but they actually are not. And they're making a big comeback. We also have Eric. I don't know much about Eric. I thought it was like Ericsson, the Ericsson phones that you used to be back, way back in the day. But if we look at year to date, up 42%. Over the last 5 days, up 6%. Over the last day, up almost just 2% here. Okay. Since that alert, let's call it, 21. So 11. All right. Up, 2.5%. Not life-changing money, but again, maybe we're still very early for this run, right? For this run for Eric. Again, these three names are moving into AI infrastructure. They kind of already have the cell towers or the leases on some of the cell towers. And they're working on software for edge devices, robotics. So, the story could be there. I mean, there's just a lot of new frontiers happening, robotics, satellites, just to name two of them outside of the data center plays. And this is all playing on the AI theme, right? As Dan Ives said yesterday, there's several derivatives underneath just AI and robotics, satellites, data centers in space. All of that falls under artificial intelligence. All right. So absolutely amazing here. Okay. So we have Wolf up in the chat. Hey, what's up? What's up, Wolf? Thanks for joining. Let's see what we have here. Yep. Good evening and good morning. And we got Padre giving us the laughing emoji. All right. So this is the man with the plan. All right. Okay. So moving on from that, we do have some news coming out of Roundhill. They filed the Neo Cloud ETF. The Neo Cloud ETF, you hear that name a lot. You have Neo Clouds, you have hyperscalers. Well, this is going to be one for the neo clouds. Okay, so we don't know anything much yet because, again, this was just filed. We don't know the expense ratio. We don't know anything else about them. Excuse me 1 second. So this is what they're going to be investing into. All right, GPU as a service. That is, that we're seeing that already. Okay, you have Oracle, you have let's see, Iran, you have data centers, several data centers out there. CoreWeave, right there, they're offering GPUs as a service, right? The data centers. Then you have high density co-location, HDC data centers, purpose built or retrofitted for artificial intelligence, high performance computing, HPC workloads. There's actually a name out there. I'm not going to mention it on this stream because it's absolutely disgusting how down it is. It is a penny stock, but they do a lot of co-location. It's a holding company, so their earnings is all over the place. The company is all over the place. They're also a Bitcoin treasury company. But anyways, beside the fact, AI platforms that enable enterprises to train, deploy, and manage AI models at scale. So these are the AI factories that Jensen Huang always talks about: data center development, construction, operation services. Well, what do you know, right? Construction, development of the data center, operation services. To answer the question from yesterday that came up, why don't data centers build vertically, floors upon floors? And basically the answer is it would be kind of a cooling nightmare to cool data centers that are built vertically. But not only that, moving equipment up and down stairs is not, enjoyable. So, a little laziness there. I'm just kidding. Of course, I know how much a server weighs and they're not light. Even with elevators, you start tacking in elevators, that stuff starts to cost even more money, and you run into even more problems with that, right? Just having to maintain elevators and things of that nature. So that is kind of why data centers don't build up. They just build flat. Cooling and advanced thermal management infrastructure designed for the graphic processing units and AI computing environments. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know much about this. I didn't know this was a whole theme. But yeah, cooling and advanced thermal management. Maybe it's going to be, the HVAC systems that, basically the HVAC, the ACs that cool these data centers. You have power infrastructure development. So you're going to have Eaton probably in there. Maybe a utility company, a couple utility companies, high-speed network infrastructure. So think of your Cisco's, and obviously NVIDIA is probably going to be in there because they also have high-speed networking equipment. Digital infrastructure companies undergoing strategic transformation from cryptocurrency mining or blockchain ops to AI and HPC data center ops. All right, so we saw that with a lot of these old miners basically pivoting away from mining Bitcoin, Ethereum, and every other coin under the sun to now being pure play AI data centers. So that is also very interesting there. And other related at Neo Cloud AI infrastructure and GPU computing tech and services. So this ETF is going to be interesting when it drops. Again, they also have the light ETF coming out, the photonics and optics ETF, and their most successful ETF, DRAM. So I like that Roundhill is kind of focusing on these more thematic plays. They're not just focusing on the high yield, weekly pay, or even, the income strategies like XDTE or QDT, RDT. They're coming out with, several different other things. They're prior to DRAM, their most successful ETF was MAGS. All right, the Magnificent 7 ETF, MAGS, where you just got pure exposure to the Mag 7, no S&P 500, no triple Qs. You just got MAGS exposure, and that became the benchmark for a lot of comparisons out there. Obviously their DRAM just completely blew it out of the water. And they got MAGP coming out in the not too distant future, which will include AVGO, OpenAI, Anthropic, and SpaceX. So a lot of exciting things coming out of Roundhill. Okay, so let's move on to our first big piece of news. We have from Chihang, shalom everyone, hello. And then of course, Dividend Degenerate saying space is the ultimate cooling center. Yeah, you're actually right. It's just cold in space. Okay, let's move on to the first piece of news right here. And we are talking about Qualcomm. You guys remember I mentioned Qualcomm several times over this last week, and it was not a pick of mine or anything. But I was listening to a podcast with Jordy Visser. All right, that's a name you guys need to look at, and that's a name you should definitely read into and watch his content. Absolutely phenomenal content when it comes to AI, and that's why he brings up a lot of good points about when people are talking about an AI bubble and, it's going to blow and this and that. And his thought process on why it's not a bubble, and people are full of shit, essentially, when they say, oh yeah, everything's an AI bubble, it's going to pop. He brings up some really amazing points. Okay. He's not saying that there won't be drawdowns or corrections or, stocks that go down. Nothing could just always go up and to the right. But what he's saying is the idea that this is a bubble, a lot of people are absolutely mistaken. They either don't invest in AI or they don't use AI. That's really it. But anyways, he mentioned Qualcomm. All right. He mentioned Qualcomm. This is where I learned it from. And he talked about how Qualcomm is going to be used in a lot of cars, right? Cars for their AI systems. And Qualcomm is focusing on native AI on your cell phone. And this is the direction that Qualcomm is going in. As a matter of fact, their stock popped quite a bit over the last 5 days, right? Over the last 5 days, up 15%. Just today, up 11.6%. Year to date, 37%. Over the last 6 months, up 44%. And look at this. Do you not love that trend? It looks like it's having a nice little breakout. Look at that. Look at that. It is having a nice breakout. Okay, so let's talk about why is Qualcomm all the rage or potentially all the rage. All right, Qualcomm shares surged 12% on Friday, now up 75% in the past couple of months as the chip maker's increasingly central position in physical AI becomes more apparent to Wall Street. Robotics, vehicles. All right, the stock is trading at a record. The company is using its dominance in smartphones to cement its role as a key player in connected devices, whether it's eyeglasses, cars, or robots. OpenAI is reportedly partnering with Qualcomm to develop an AI chip that could power a coming device run by AI agents. All right. The CEO, I believe it was the CEO, said this company will be back to its former glory and will lead the connected device revolution, said Ivan Feinsmith, an analyst at Tigris Financial Partners who rates Qualcomm a buy. Investors are waking up to this fact. So that was not the CEO. That was the analyst. Learn to read, Eugen. Okay. Anyways, regarding Qualcomm's work with OpenAI, Feinsmith said he's bullish about the forthcoming device, calling it a phone that will be an AI-based operating system that will do everything. Okay. Some other interesting facts. All right. On Thursday, Qualcomm announced a deal with automaker Stellantis, which said it will use the chipmaker's Snapdragon processors to support advanced unified compute power across the entire vehicle, including cockpit connectivity and advanced driver assist systems. Stellantis owns a broad portfolio of brands, including Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Fiat, Jeep, and Maserati. Why did I get mixed up? I'm thinking Fiat like the currency. Customers will be able to enjoy a smooth, immersive, and safe auto drive experience on city and highway roads with multiple driving modes to choose from, said Ned Sirik, Stellantis' head of product development at the company's investor day on Thursday. Qualcomm has struck similar deals with Bosch, Volkswagen, Hyundai, and BMW. All right. More than 1 million cars already operate their autonomous systems on Qualcomm processors, according to the company. Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon said the company's earnings call in April that it would begin shipping data center chips. Okay, not just cell phones, not just chips for robots or cars. All right, to a large hyperscaler within the calendar year. Investors could hear more when Amon delivers a keynote address at the Computex conference in Taiwan on June 2nd and at Qualcomm Investor Day on June 24th. So this could be an exciting time to get into Qualcomm. June 2nd is going to be a big one in Taiwan. I believe NVIDIA is also going to be there. A ton of companies are going to be there. As a matter of fact, I've been looking at Taiwan ETFs. There's only 2 that I know of on the market, and both have, huge allocations to the semiconductor, or substrates and photonics and optics, space in Taiwan. So something I'm looking forward, something I'm looking into. I would like to front run it, but of course, there is still a strong potential of a 20% decline in the market. And investors are stuck between, FOMO and trying to get in at the right price and, worried about a potential drop in the markets. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. Absolutely insane. But anyways, getting back to Qualcomm, I think, this is a fascinating story and something I'm going to look forward to in the coming months. All right. So let's see. We have from Padre, space isn't the ultimate cooling center. Heat has to move and there's zero friction in space. It's one of the big issues with data centers in space and heat sinks. Only 3 ways to move heat is a problem. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's see what else we have here. Dividend Degenerate says, what genre of music do you like? I'll make and send you a jam. I appreciate that, Dividend Degenerate. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't really like have a genre. Oh, I see it right here. I can make you an AI song for the intro to the show. I don't know, man. Surprise me. I mean, I don't really care about the genre. I think it just needs to be, I guess, like it fit in with finance or something. I don't know. Like, well, what music fits in with finance, right? It's the most boring thing ever. But anyways, all right. I appreciate that, Dividend Degenerate. I really do. All right. Let's keep this going. What do we have here? Okay. Yeah. So let's keep this going. All right. So we're going to move in our geopolitics news, guys. This is the news that's going to be, it's going to be interesting. Okay. And this is just the way I see it as the news has dropped, as I have found it. So this could be, you know, I don't know. I could be completely wrong about all this. I'm just going to share my thoughts here. Okay. My opinions. Okay. US-Iran signaled peace progress, but remain at odds over enriched uranium and the Strait of Hormuz tolls. All right. The U.S. and Iran have signaled progress in talks to end the war, but the combatants remain at loggerheads over Tehran's enriched uranium stockpile and tolls on the strategic vital Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Thursday that there were good signs that an agreement to end the conflict in sight, but warned that any such deal would be unfeasible if Iran pursues measures to permanently control shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. All right. He said, no one in the world is in favor of a tolling system. It can't happen, and it would be unacceptable, Rubio told reporters in Miami. If we can't get to a good deal, the president's been clear he has no other options. All right, and that's what's going to lead us to our next portion. All right, Strait of Hormuz payment system. We want it open. We want it free. We don't want tolls. It's international. It's an international waterway, said President Donald Trump on Thursday. Enriched uranium stockpile regarding that. These are really the last 2 pain points, it appears, in negotiations. And Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, who's the son of the last one, issued a directive that near weapons grade uranium in the country should not be sent abroad. Again, I don't know if the news is true or not, or misinformation, but there was a piece saying that basically what Iran wants to do with their current uranium, which is enriched for weapons grade or very close to it, they will basically blend it down, right? So they will add, I guess, new uranium or some other type of yellow cake or other powders to basically blend it down to less weapons grade. So again, I don't know if that's true or 100%. There's so much misinformation right now regarding all of this, and it's hard to find the actual facts of what's going on. Okay, so everything sounded good, right? Markets were loving this, or markets kind of didn't care. They're just like, hey, we're just going to continue ripping higher. But then we had news that Donald Trump is actually missing his son's wedding, and he is going to remain in Washington for the weekend, which obviously signals something extremely huge is about to happen. And this is that extremely huge thing, okay? The U.S. is preparing for new military strikes against Iran. This could obviously have huge implications. This is what we hear all the time. Bad news on a Friday, good news on a Monday, or, you know, in this case, probably a Tuesday, right? So let's get into it. I'll just share some thoughts here. All right. Washington, the Trump administration was prepping Friday for a fresh round of military strikes against Iran, according to sources familiar with the knowledge of the planning. No final decision on strikes have been reached as of Friday afternoon, which is obviously a good thing. Circumstances pertaining to government are keeping President Trump from attending his son's Donald Trump Jr.'s wedding this weekend. And then, of course, we have, and that was pretty much it. So I'm just going to share some thoughts here. I'm not a geopolitical analyst or anything of the sort. I think this is anything just posturing and kind of putting a stick in Iran's side to say, hey, let's move on these negotiations because I'm serious, right? I'm serious is why I'm missing my son's wedding and I'm staying in Washington. That became public news, and Iran's looking at this. Okay, so anyways. To basically put this to an end, hopefully we don't get strikes, and hopefully a peace deal is reached. I think the entire world is hoping a peace deal gets reached and we can move past this. The markets certainly are. If no deal is reached, this is potentially something that can happen. No TAMs, which are no flights over certain areas, are issued usually by like airports and governments. There's a NOTAM currently over Iran, meaning no flights over Iran. Probably will be, not too far in the distant future where the Middle East starts NOTAMs. So no flights in or out. And then, the rockets start flying. Barring any of that, if none of that happens, except for Iran, because they already said we got the NOTAM in place, but barring any of that, there's a good probability that some new progress happens over the weekend for these peace talks. All right, so volatility ahead. All right, keep that in mind. And this is why I'm thinking, and I mentioned it to Skeptic earlier, why I think Monday is going to be a good day. Right? Obviously, bad news on a Friday. Markets are closed. So you can't send the markets down, 10-year treasuries, all that stuff. The bond market can't blow up because no one's trading, right, over this long weekend. It gives the administration 3 days to get this thing squared away. So hopefully this gets squared away. And we already know what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz. We know the implications it's already happening or already having on the rest of the world. Okay. Europe, starting to really feel the pain of rising energy prices. You have Southeast Asian countries, Asia in general, also feeling huge problems from this. They're running out of gas, closing gas stations, putting in energy, mandates, saying, how much you could buy, what you could buy, et cetera. Gas is going up at the pump. We see that in America, gas is going up at the pump. So again, the entire world is feeling this already. So hopefully we can get past this and have a good market open. Okay. All right. So moving past that, Kevin Warsh finally sworn in. Actually, let me go back to the chat just to double check things. Let's see. So we have Rod Stamon up in the chat. Good to see our leader of the X-Men is breaking us on world events. I appreciate that. Yep. I mean, I got to, man. Geopolitics has its place in the market. It has its place. Let's see what we have. Wolf says Bitcoin and crypto can dive. It already dived. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if I'm hoping. I really am hoping. Because I mean, you don't want this conflict to continue for a lot of reasons. Obviously, I have friends, basically family at this point in the Middle East. And I don't want, more rockets to be flying. But at the same time, I see it from a governmental perspective as well, why this is going on. But I think the entire world just wants this whole conflict to come to an end. In the market, and we can get back on this bull market. Anyways, just my thoughts, of course. I'm sure there's lots of people who disagree or agreed. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of people on YouTube watching videos and opining on the stuff. Anyways, Zordon 43, excellent content. Has Round Hill resolved the issue with Fidelity regarding the service fee Fidelity wants to pass to investors? That is a great question. I've not seen any news about this. I did see that they updated their prospectuses for a lot of their ETFs, and they included the line that under expenses that, investors may be subject to additional fees by brokerages or something to that effect. So they are well aware there has been no deal. I know some other fund managers were able to work out something so that there's no fees being paid at Fidelity to purchase their products. So hopefully Round Hill does get it because I'm sure, maybe the voices in Fidelity might be a little loud that, investors can't get like something like a DRAM or something. I don't know, but hopefully they can get that resolved. Let's see what we have here. Okay. All right. Moving on from this. Okay. So yes, Trump finally sworn in, or excuse me, Kevin Warsh finally sworn in as the Fed chair as Trump seeks interest rate cuts. Well, I've been beating this drum already enough. I think you guys already get the point that the Fed is paralyzed, stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they lower rates, we're going to get inflation. If they don't lower rates, and, we're still going to get inflation anyways. So they're screwed either way. All right. Trump, whose actions toward the Fed have spurred bipartisan alarms about executive influence on the historically independent central bank, said he wanted Warsh to just do your own thing and do a great job. All right. I want Kevin to be totally independent, Trump said at the start of the event Friday morning. Don't look at me and don't look at anybody, which we kind of know that is probably false. He was put there specifically with the intention to lower rates. At least that's what's been publicly said. Our mandate at the Fed, and this is coming from Warsh, during his speech, our mandate at the Fed is to promote price stability and maximum employment, Warsh said after being sworn in. When we pursue those aims with wisdom and clarity, independence and resolve, inflation can be lower, growth stronger, real take-home pay higher, and America can be more prosperous and no less important. America's place in the world more secure. To fulfill this mission, I will lead a reform-oriented Federal Reserve, learning from past successes and mistakes, both escaping static frameworks and models and upholding clear standards of integrity and performance. So Kevin Warsh, again, I mean, there's a lot of history with him. He used to work at the Fed. He left in around 2011 to go work under Stanley Druckenmiller at the time, I believe. And, he's been there ever since. And now he's back as, the chairman for the Fed. Jerome Powell is still going to be on the board, or he's still going to remain as a governor. And until, all these lawsuits and all this witch hunting has come to basically a conclusion. So with that, I mean, we will see. But what is the market thinking, right? What is the market thinking about this? And I will tell you what the market is thinking. The market is pricing in a 40% chance that we get a rate hike in October. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, a rate hike in October. Fed Waller came out and basically said the line, you were crazy if you think we're going to be getting a Fed rate cut now. Like, that's what he said. And I was trying to find the clip of that. Couldn't find the clip. But yes, Fed Waller said that, and he's on the board. And he's usually dovish. And for him to come out and say that, I mean, that is very telling where the Fed is at this moment. Let's see. So did you ever look into Cyvers, semiconductors, Tgif mentioned in the Discord the other day? I looked at it. I can't buy it, so I didn't even look into it. We could take a look real quick right now, since we're on the stream. Let's see. Look at that. Here's another big one. Oh, I can't show that one. Damn it. Hold on. Boom. Cyvers semiconductor. Last 5 days, up 25%, up last day, 17% over the last month, 119%, 6 months, 827% year to date. Absolutely insane. Not surprised there. Not surprised there. We'll get back to your picks, Padre, just in a second. All right, so our next big piece of news and why crypto sold off, the SEC said, hey, you know what? We're actually going to delay our plan for the innovation exemption. Okay, so there was some news that just came out regarding this, and this is why crypto sold off. This is why we had a really blood red day for Bitcoin, Ethereum, even Hypecoin sold off. Everything sold off, right? And I've been following Hypecoin pretty much this week. And I think I mentioned it this week, or maybe it was late last week, that I initiated a position in a digital asset treasury company that's buying up all the hype. And then you have the ETFs drop, you have B hype and T hype, and then you have another one coming out, which we'll cover here in a moment. But the SEC is delaying plans to allow crypto versions of US stocks. So really the whole problem with this, and I didn't even highlight this, the whole problem with this is you had the banks come out and basically raise a bunch of hoopla about it, right? Not just banks. It was the institutions, the brokerages that that allow for trading, right? Trading of stocks. And they came out and they wrote a letter and they're very upset and yada, yada, yada. So then the SEC said, okay, we're going to halt this for now until we can get more clarity or figure things out. So real quick, the Securities and Exchange Commission has pumped the brakes on its highly anticipated innovation exemption for tokenized stocks, pushing back the release of the framework as it weighs input from traditional stock exchanges and other market participants, wary of the plan's sweeping implications, according to Bloomberg. This is what's getting Hyperliquid a lot of attention because SpaceX was already trading on Hyperliquid. But there's several other crypto exchanges that are also doing kind of a perpetual market where you can invest, or perpetual derivative market where you can invest in private companies, right? So Obviously, some of these guys were upset about that. And you even have the companies. The companies are saying like, hey, just because you own the perp derivative of the crypto, whatever, of our stock does not mean you have voting rights. Okay. It does not mean you have a say, and it does not actually impact our actual stock price. So the SEC under Paul Atkins was preparing to release the so-called innovation exemption as soon as this week. We can go over that exemption, what it actually is. So the SEC was reportedly leaning toward permitting third-party tokens, digital representations of stocks like Apple, Nvidia, or Tesla to be issued and traded without the consent of the underlying public companies. This would be a totally new market, but this would also be a step closer to 24/7 trading, right? Like 24/7 markets. That's what this is heading towards. All right. So the delay, let's see if we can find it. Yeah. This is who's causing the delay right now. The World Federation of Exchanges, whose members include NASDAQ, CBOE, and CME Group, previously warned the SEC in November 2025 that such exemptions could dilute existing investor protections and distort competition by giving crypto exchanges a regulatory shortcut unavailable to traditional markets. So this is the same thing as they want a fair playing field, right? Even though, I mean, I don't know. CME, I know CME has a bad rep of sometimes, going down during high volumes unexpectedly, right? Changing the price on the fly, because of cooling in their data center, right? What a awful time for a data center to heat up. But anyways, yes, they're upset that crypto exchanges are basically getting better, and they're actually competitive, competing with some of these big players out here. So that is, pretty much what sold off Bitcoin, even though I don't know why it sold off Bitcoin. Has nothing to do with this market, but it sold off anyways, right? I could see why Hype token sold off. I could see why even Ethereum sold off, but I could not see why Bitcoin sold off. But again, you just lump it all together with crypto. So anyways, this is also came right after. All right, crypto mom Hester Pierce excludes synthetic tokenized stocks from the SEC exemption. This was the big news about this, and this is what kind of also led to a bunch of other questions. Because what does the word synthetic mean? Index funds, ETFs, synthetic what? What does synthetic mean, right? So that was also what raised a lot of questions. I had this marked up and I don't know what happened to it. Okay. Pierce wrote on X that the tokenized stock framework would cover only listed equities. The carve-out applies to shares investors can already buy on the secondary market. I've always expected that it'd be limited in scope and would facilitate trading only of digital representations of the same underlying equity security that an investor could purchase in the secondary market today, not synthetics. And then she went on to say, or there's people talking about on X that, hey, what the heck does the word synthetic actually mean, right? So now that has to get clarified. So right after she posted that, she also quit. Right after she posted that, she also quit. She will be departing the SEC. I don't know if it was because of her decision or if the SEC decided to kick her out. I have no idea. But she will be departing from the SEC as well. Again, that all happened probably like 5-10 minutes to the start of the stream is when I found this out. All right. So for those who don't remember what the SEC innovation exemption is, this is the big one right here. And we kind of already covered is third-party tokenization. It allows third-party entities unaffiliated with the issuing company to wrap or tokenize publicly listed stocks. This can even occur without the listed company's explicit consent. We know that OpenAI, they had tokenized stock on Robinhood trading in Europe. And Sam Altman came out and said, hey, just because you buy that token does not mean you have shares of my company, right? You have no shares, no say, no voting rights in OpenAI. And then, of course, SpaceX is already trading in these private companies, right? So they're trading on these crypto exchanges under that perpetual derivative. So that is pretty much the reason why crypto sold off today, unfortunately, but is what it is. We'll see if we can get this innovation exemption. This would be absolutely bullish, I think, for not only hype, which I've been talking up and kind of hyping up, but again, do your own due diligence. Don't listen to me. Don't buy it just because I mentioned it. Not financial advice, but this would be bullish, I think, for obviously hype, obviously Ethereum, because both of them are trading, perpetual derivatives and, tokenized stocks or tokenized real world assets. So moving on from that, now moving into some more hype news. All right, Grayscale just put down a hype ETF. So this is the third company, the third fund manager going after hype, okay, and creating a hype ETF. We already have a leveraged hype ETF. Now we have 2 other hype ETFs, one from 21 shares. I covered both of these previously, I think late last week or earlier this week. I can't remember. So whenever I talked about PER, which is the Hyperliquid Strategies DAT. Okay, it's a digital asset treasury company, ticker PURR, right? So it's similar to MSTR, similar to BMNR. These are actually ETFs. The cool thing about Bitwise, though, and I'm starting to like Bitwise, at least understanding their perspectives and kind of listening in on their CIO. Bitwise, for every regarding their Hyperliquid ETP, I believe they're going to take 10% of the rewards and hold it under Bitwise, and Bitwise will have, a hype treasury, right? It's following a DAT as well. They have a huge forecast for Hyperliquid, a nice bull case for Hyperliquid. So I'm definitely interested in this token, and it had a nice pullback today for anyone who's interested. Again, not financial advice to go buy it. And you have several products out there now that you can take a look at. But these 2 ETFs had tremendous amounts of inflows over the last couple of days, right? Right here. I mean, maybe not Bitwise, but definitely 21 shares, $33 million in inflows. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let me get to the chat here. All right, let's see what we have. Oh, by the way, yeah, this pretty much concludes our stream on our news and our news segments. Talked about geopolitics, talked about some wins. We talked about Qualcomm. We talked about what's happening in Iran. We talked about the SEC innovation exemption and why crypto sold off. And now we talked about hype. All right, so let's check the chats real quick. So Rostamon says, I think they're waiting to pass a clarity bill on the 4th of July. 250th birthday of America. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know that's what they're kind of aiming for. It would be cool if they passed it on July 4th, but I don't know, man. It's got to pass the Senate. It's got to pass freaking the House. And I mean, they're going to want to throw in a bunch of amendments and change this or that. I don't know, man. I hope it gets passed soon, though. Let's see. Padre says per $10 calls were trading slightly heavy for July, I believe. All right. And then Bitwise is going to stake in-house. That's awesome. Okay. So let's open up the floor real quick. Let me get back to, we'll just stay right here. Let's get back to some last comments from Padre. So a name I forgot to mention was Click. Both Ping and Click didn't sell off the other day with all the other optoelectronic names. Trump bought Ping, and you saw their C-suite stack, I believe. Yes, I did see, what's his name? I had it all lined up, and I freaking didn't even get to that one. But I know there was a advisor who was added to the board recently for Ping, and it's actually a pretty important person. I forget the name, though. So let's take a look at Click. I got to stop doing that. Click. Let's see what Click stock is doing. So this is a Kulik and Sofa Industries company, and it's on the NASDAQ. Well, what do you know? Maybe I can buy this one. Just today, it's up 3.27% over the last 5 days, 1.18 over the last month, 22% over the last 6 months. Oh my God, 151%. 151% over the last 6 months, year to date, 115%. Let's see if we could just click this button and it'll give us some cool what these guys do. All right, let's use AI. All right, Kulik and Sofa Industries surged recently following second quarter earnings beat and aggressive fiscal 2026 guidance. Okay, but what do they do? Consensus to support the growth. Company is nearly doubling its 2026 expenditures to $22 million. There's that word again, AI infrastructure and packaging tailwinds. The ongoing expansion of global AI infrastructure is driving increased demand for advanced assembly equipment. So here's a bearish view. Valuation concerns, because of course, that's the easiest one. Insider selling. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about insider selling sometimes. Like I mean, I get it. They're humans. People are human. When they see their stock go up and they got bills to pay and they've been riding this stock, for years, waiting for it to go up, working hard. I mean, sometimes, like you want to sell a little bit of stock so you can go buy that Lamborghini that you've always wanted, or go buy that house, or pay off some bills. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I guess it depends, because you've had Nvidia sell, like Jensen Huang sells his shares. You've had Palantir, Alex Karp sell his shares. I mean, it doesn't mean that they don't love their companies. It's just, hey, people got expenses, man. People got bills to pay, millions and millions of dollars worth. But I mean, hell, if you work 10 years of your life to make a company go from $5 to, $150, $200, I mean, hell yeah, I'm going to take some damn shares off the table. Anyways, let's see. So Pang is another one. I thought Pang's a Chinese company, though, if I'm not mistaken, and it's trading on the NASDAQ. I thought Pang was a Chinese company. I could be wrong. Yeah, I guess not. California. See, I'm thinking of another Pang that is a car manufacturer, and it's based in China. I don't know if this is the same company, but anyways, last day up almost 9%, or 9% over the last 5 days, 13, of course, over the last month, 92%, and over the last 6 months, 193. God damn it. God damn it. Oh my God. I should have checked. I should have definitely checked. Saw an interesting post for Qualcomm going to 400. Last time I said that, it was Intel to double at $40. Yeah, I think Qualcomm has a very interesting story. They're going to be in such demand. Stop it, Sergio. It is not my birthday. Remark, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a minute. Do you see yourself investing in NASA ETF? Probably not. To be honest, I'm not going to be investing in that. I haven't looked at it. Spacey has actually been really interesting. SPCI is the ticker. Income Architect had put out a quick kind of comparison between the two, between Mars from Roundhill, which is a pure play on space, and Spacey. And even without the dividends reinvested, just price return, Spacey since inception has outperformed a pure play ETF, which I think is amazing. It actually has appreciation. So you could spend that dividend, at the club, go buy your bottles, spend it on whatever you want. Go buy that Couture bag or whatever. Like I thought that was interesting. So, I mean, that's a huge shout out to Tuttle Capital for that ETF. They've been doing a lot of X spaces recently, and they're talking about space and kind of their ideas behind Spacey and just talking about the whole industries, semiconductors as well. I haven't been able to attend all of them, but the ones I did hear, I mean, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Packaging isn't putting things in a box. People should familiarize themselves with it. AEHR is a good example. Oh my God. Don't tell me this one also ran up 100%. I wouldn't be surprised. AEHR Test Systems also trading on the NASDAQ. So for us Robinhood plebs, we can have access to this stock. Over the last 5 days, last month, 6 months. Oh my God, 355%, 328% year to date. Are we early? Is this going to be a 10 bagger? Can we buy now? Is this a good time? Padre says, so think of packaging in other industries like auto, INTT, for example. Look at all these tickers this guy's dropping, people. I mean, you should be adding this stuff to your watch list. Don't be like me and be asleep at the helm. Intest Corp, and it is trading American. So 7% down almost 4% over the last month, 11.68, 6 months, 143%. Year to date, 148%. These are all small caps or mid caps. So also keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Familiarize yourself that these are not large cap companies. These are probably not in the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. Maybe one or two of them, as I just went through them, are. But just make sure you understand that, high risk, high return, okay, and high loss is also a thing, okay? You can lose your whole investment. None of this is financial advice. Do your own due diligence. Serial Beggar says NASA made $1 billion in AUM. Are you kidding me? Really? NASA? Hold on. Hold up. I got to stop this whole show for this one. So Tema, blah, blah, blah. Holy hell. Wow. Okay. Okay, that puts them on the map. $1 billion. Outstanding. I wonder who handles their I wonder who handles the ETF. If it's Title, I'm just gonna laugh. Like if it's Title that's doing all this stuff, you got to pick a space ETF. Man, I still haven't even bought my quantum ETF. I still haven't even bought my power ETF. All right, now I got to pick a space ETF. Man, like everything is moving too damn fast. I need y'all to slow it down a bit, man. I don't got infinite amounts of money. All right. And remember, I said this, like, it's hard to, well, for me, it's hard to move the needle when you're just like spread across like 100 positions. Like if I put $1,000 in NASA, like, is it really going to be life-changing money? Probably not. Now, I mean, if I put 1,000 in some of these other picks and I made 1,000 or it went up to like, 1,000%, hey, that's $10,000. I don't know if NASA is going to go up 1,000%, but whoever's in it, man, congratulations. NASA it's actually worth a look. I liked what their fund manager had to say. I posted the X interview in the Discord. I got so much to catch up in the Discord. By the way, a shameless plug. If you guys want to check out that Discord, link is down below in the description. You guys can sign up through, it'll send you an email, check your spam folder, all that stuff. I do that because I was getting an insane amount of bots trying to push their own cryptocurrencies and scam a bunch of people. So that's why I do that now. All right. So you guys can check out that link down below in the Discord. I have never even sent an email to anybody. Right. At one point or another, I was thinking, oh, we could start a newsletter or something like that. But I mean, I don't think I'm going to even go that route at this time, because if I was to do a newsletter, I want it to be as valuable, actionable for people that actually receive that email. Skeptic says, I'll stick with Spacey. Well, damn. Okay. Shoot. You go, girl. All right. You go, girl. Let's see. Dividend Degenerate says, I've been buying Spacey every week since inception. All right, let's check out Spacey. Excuse me. Yeah. This. Oh, I thought it was 10 billion. No, it's 10 million assets. Yeah, they people have been pretty happy with Spacey, and I mean, I gotta say, just from the charts, people have been really looking at the charts, I'm really impressed. So maybe NASA, Mars, Spacey, these are going to be the names, the space names, the space ETFs. I'm sure there's going to be more. Right now, every fund manager is dropping photonics, semiconductor, thematic, AI data center. We have quantum, QQ coming out of, Roundhill in the future, I think. You have just hundreds of new ETFs coming out, all playing on these themes, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. Better than just buying an S&P 500 index. But, damn, it's just so much. Like, it's so many new ETFs. We are so privileged right now. Said it before, don't sleep on NASA. All right. Corgi CQTM is up 29% this week. That is actually insane. I wonder what WQTM is up. Now, WQTM was my pick. Didn't buy it. Missed the freaking pump. I'm really bummed about that. Still pissed off about that. Let's see. So, okay. All right. Not too bad, but also not 30%. CQTM. Of course. Oh, there we go. All right. Over the last 5 days. Jesus. Let's go, Corgi. Let's go. Come on, Corgi. They're brand new. Hey, they're the brand new boys on the block. All right. They're trying to make a name for themselves. I think this is definitely noteworthy that they outperformed Wisdom Tree and definitely I'm 100% sure they outperformed Qcom. I didn't like Qcom. They maybe they need a rebalance, but they put less weighting on Ion Q, Rigetti and D-Wave and all those other actual quantum names. And then they overweighted to like NVIDIA and Intel and, just, I don't know, see like 6%, like disgusting. But last year, Defiance Qtum was killing it. They were absolutely killing it all of last year. 50%. That's really good. But yeah, like last year, they were doing really well. Let's see. Up until December, yeah, up 30%. Let's see. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm not surprised by this. All right. Not surprised in the least. I talked about it on my last video where I was showing people how to search the Edgar database. And I said it in there that I won't be surprised, who like how like title is everywhere. Just title managers everywhere. They really own the space when it comes to thematic ETFs and helping launch them. Let's see. So you just hit the nail on the head, says Padre. It's hard to move the needle when you spread into 100 positions. Look what Charlie Munger says about diversification. Yeah. And I mean, see, but I haven't developed that muscle, right? GCTS is the best example. Like I have paper hands holding that with that amount of money that I had in there. I was checking my Robinhood account religiously, refreshing every second. And even though like I was not bullish like as I should have been on GCTS. I like the story. I just didn't know enough about it at that moment. And I felt stupid for selling out of it because then it rocketed right back up. So it is what it is. Same thing. Same thing I did with MRAM. Should have held that, right? I was happy with a 75 or was it a 65, 75% gain on my position, cashed out. And then the damn thing ran 200%. But hey, is what it is, man. Is what it is. Let's see. Well, I retract everything I said about NASA. No title for this guy. Nope. It's on the record. It's on the record. You said you'd buy this and you don't want to be, let's see. Yeah, you said it. You said it. Hold on. Said it before. Don't sleep on NASA. Uh-oh. Padre says, not to be that guy, but I also mentioned INFQ. Check the tape. Let's see what INFQ has been up to. Inflection. It is okay. So us Robinhood plebs can get to it. 11% today, up 11% today. See, guys, we are so privileged to have this info. And I know you mentioned it because I did see it. I just didn't look deep enough. I don't think I checked the X post or whatever, but I did see it. And look at this thing, 45% since the 20th of May, Wednesday. Freaking insane. Over the last year. Oh, this is a brand new stock. Yeah, this has only been out a little while. Okay. So maybe we're still very early. God, I could have got a 30% discount. But I was screwing off buying Bitcoin. Anyways. Let's see. So Tuttle and Tap Alpha are related, but no title. And Padre says, you need more faith, bro. Do you not know of my track record? I'd be more than happy to taunt. I mean, show you, bro. You've already chewed me out several times. You know what it is, though? You know what it is? And this is just, just me, man. Like, I don't do the work sometimes when it comes to, like, I just bought BlackBerry. I bought BlackBerry just because you mentioned it, right? I didn't even do any real due diligence on it. I was just like, screw it. Let me just buy it. And then this thing just freaking rockets up, right? But I looked at what it was doing, and it was shifting from it's old, it's old stuff. It's old software pivoting to AI infrastructure, edge devices, a telecom name, so it already has the infrastructure, et cetera. So I kind of already I did enough very scratch surface level DD. And I was like, oh, this name AI is pivoting. They're focused on that. Okay, why not? They already have a huge government contract with FedRAMP, with the US government. So I was like, okay, let me move forward with this, right? But I'm only risking like a small amount of money. I mean, I'm talking like less than probably 0.1% of my portfolio, maybe even less than that. But I mean, look, but for GCTS, I'm like, I don't know what the hell 4G and 5G and the radios. And I'm like, I understand like it's a satellite, it's a play for satellite, but I didn't understand the thesis for GCTS. And now I do. And that they have partnerships with Nokia and BlackBerry. And now it all makes sense in hindsight. And I'm like, well, poop. I already missed it. I already missed the damn run up. But it is what it is, as they say. There will always be another one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. There will always be another one. Especially in the community, especially in the Discord. Padre just be dropping these names every other day. I'd be asleep most of the time. And I have to go back through the chats and kind of screen everything and then load up my tabs. I'll have like 20 or 30 tabs that I have to catch on, because Sergio also drops a lot of stuff too. Sergio, shout out to him, Qcom, but he drops a lot of knowledge as well. Stuff that he finds or articles he finds relating to quantum, AGI, even the foundry that's being built in Dubai for quantum chips. I mean, he drops a lot of stuff as well. So, it's always I always have to go back and read. Bro, you've been replaced by AI, man. Like, you've been replaced. It is what it is, all right? We had to give you the pink slip. You have a quant and don't use it, but you use AI. No AI has performed better than me. Anyone can search the Discord. A year of bangers and not the English kind. Why no super chats? Give this man money. Padre will quant for food. All right. He's been replaced by AI. He will quant for food. All right. Yeah. I think we are extremely extremely not only privileged to have you do that. This is coming as a labor of love from you, so always appreciate it. Rod Stamon says bought 10 shares of XOVR ETF. Yes, that one came from Ishkabibble. He was the one that put me on XOVR. I did not buy it though. Not my cup of tea. There is another one. There's XOVR, and there was another one that was dropped in the chat. But yes, XOVR, it's another like VCX, right? Similar to like VCX, they invest in private funds, etc. Similar to like RVI, the Robinhood Venture Fund. You also have XOVR, and there was a new one. What was it, DXYZ or something? DXYZ stock, I think. Yeah, the Destiny Tech 100. This doesn't look exciting, doesn't look sexy, but when you do year to date, 115%, I mean, that's pretty crazy. Over the last 5 days, up 23%. Over the last month, up 122%. So that one is also very interesting. If you got it on the 20th, you'd be up 37%. This one also invests in a lot of private, non-public names. I looked at the product page, didn't even really take a look into it. What I did find interesting is that they actually have a position in Beast Industries. All right, so they actually have a position in Beast Industries right here. Guess who else has that same position? BM&R. So I'm pretty happy there. But here are all the names. And I mean, so if you want that exposure to Anthropic, SpaceX, OpenAI, Shield AI, which just won a huge contract, from the government, Databricks, which also is held by RVI. I don't know who Chaos Industries is, or Hermes. Tense Torrent. I heard that name. It was really interesting. I did not look enough into it. But yes, I know Tense Torrent. I've seen that name before. Let's click on this. Where AI runs. What the heck do they do? I totally forgot what they do. I gotta look more into this. But yeah, Tense Torrent. Look, I don't know most of these names. Kraken, we know who Kraken is. We know who Stripe is. Let's see who else we got up in here. We know who Chime is. Well, I hope you guys know who Chime is. Klarna. Buy now, pay later for Chipotle burrito. 20% APR on that. Oh my God. Public. Yeah, I can see that. That's a brokerage. Plaid. What Plaid is, they do. So like if you have like Snowball Analytics and you want to connect your Robinhood to Snowball Analytics, you'll use Plaid. So Plaid is basically a API connector. It's a platform, and they allow for the connection of accounts securely over to other ones. Discord's another one that should be IPOing. There was rumors that that they were going to IPO. Yeah, there was rumors they were going to IPO, and then they opted not to. So YouTuber Nanolize spit on XOVR and DXYZ in his videos. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. Nanolize is he's very like, yeah, I like Nanolize videos, don't get me wrong. But yeah, he doesn't like a lot of these thematic, kind of I don't know what to call them, like these. I don't know what to call them. Like, he doesn't like a lot of these ETFs. So I'm not surprised. But Nanolize he offers a lot of great perspectives, a lot of great insights. Let's see. Yeah, that's his name, Ishka Bibble. Yeah, he's in the Discord. But he privately messaged me about XOVR when we were all talking about RVI and VCX. So he told me about XOVR because of the SpaceX exposure, but I'm like, I already had RVI, so I wasn't about to just go with XOVR. Okay, XOVL. What is that one? No, it's XOVR. I don't know. All right, let's see if we got any breaking news. Again, thank you guys for joining me on this Friday. Absolutely, thank God it's Friday. Again, you guys definitely enjoy it. Enjoy that weekend, that long weekend. Go out, touch some grass, barbecue if you can. I know the weather is starting to improve a bit in some areas. Let's see. And you got FIFA Cup coming, I think, next month, right? FIFA Cup is going to be held in a couple cities. Good luck. I attended the FIFA in Qatar, the last FIFA, and it was wild. But thankfully, Qatar, the country, just organized it so well, exceptionally well. Like, there was no traffic problems, there was no BS, there was no like fights, there was none of that. Even though they're, like Qatar is a Middle Eastern country, fighting in public, I mean, that can land you in some real hot water. But not only that, drinking and being drunk in public can really screw you up. But there was zero issues over there. Zero. I didn't read about them. I didn't see them. I drove by because they had dedicated a large portion of the city to FIFA Cup, FIFA Cup attendees. They had several stadiums throughout the country. They had bus services. They had cruise ships come in so people can go on those cruise ships and get as drunk as they wanted to. Hotels were like booked. I mean, it was a great time. I went to a couple of games, not the actual like games at the stadiums, but a couple of like bars that were doing the games. And I mean, the energy was crazy. It was so good, so positive. But a lot of businesses lost a lot of money. You would think they'd make a lot of money, but a lot of people were leaving their tabs or running out the door, or getting way too messed up and, just walking out, not paying their tab. So absolutely crazy. Let's see what I have. Oh, okay. I see it, Skeptic. Okay. I see it. Yeah. Of course they would have that. Of course there would be a Defiance 2X ETF. Man. Yeah, it's not being. Is it out? Maybe it's not out. Defiance ETFs. Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, there it is right there. XOVL. Yeah, if you want to be a degenerate and go 2X long, you can do that. A Korean funeral home. This news hit yesterday or 2 days ago. A Korean funeral home bought 2x longs on BM&R, and they basically lost all their money. Like, I mean, you gotta be sick with that. Like, I would be so upset. Why would you go 2x long? Anyways. Oh man, the son, whoever was managing that account was definitely a huge degenerate. Huge degenerate. It's Kabibbles, my Philly bro. Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at an hour and 10 minutes. I think we will call it here. All right, we've covered quite a lot of news and a lot of tickers. Hope you guys are writing all that stuff down. If not, go back into the stream and definitely check that stuff out. But again, you guys go out, enjoy your weekend, enjoy the rest of your evening. All right, have a great Memorial weekend. Please take a moment to realize what Memorial Weekend is for. All right. Outside of that, appreciate you guys joining this stream, and I will see you guys in the next one. You guys take care, and I'll see you later.